Today I'm going to show you how to improve the metadata of a video. I'll be covering the 5 T's, which are thumbnails, titles, thesis statement, timestamps, and tags. So the thumbnail is like your visual ad for your video, and you want to put as much effort as you possibly can into your thumbnail because it is what people will see and what will entice them to click on your video, together with a little other factors which we will be getting into in the future. So for this thumbnail in particular, I had to use the app PixArt together with the app Canva, which is what I normally use for my thumbnails. Now PixArt will enable you to take out the background of a photo, and you can put it on a transparent background, or you could put it on a solid color background if you want, depending on all the features that are available for free in PixArt. Well, the free version, that is. So in Canva, you aren't able to do the transparency of your background that's available in the paid version. So this is why you have to kind of marry the two if you want them to work in conjunction with each other. So as you can see, I went into the PixArt app and I created a collage, and I selected the images that I wanted on my thumbnail, which I would have downloaded from the internet, and then I placed them and rearranged them how I wanted them to look within the PixArt app. And because I wanted a solid black background, I put in the background one time before I would have downloaded it and drop it into now the Canva app, so that I could put in the words that I would want to have on it and how I want it to be displayed. Now this is not the regular format that my thumbnails usually follow. How my thumbnails are usually created is that I would have a picture of myself with a semi-clear background, right? Or if I can, I could make my background transparent and then put whatever solid color background I want. I would have about 3 to 5 words of bold, clear text, which is supposed to hook the viewer and is always in relation to the video title and the picture on the thumbnail, right? And most of the times I also follow a color scheme. So the colors that I use on my channel is like a spectrum of blue to green and red. I also use the same font more or less, and this is more for branding purposes. But as a small channel, if you're now starting out, you don't really have to be too focused on that. You could still do things to kind of test out and see which thumbnails are working better for you, which brings me to this thumbnail and why it is so different. This particular video is totally different from anything that I would have created on my channel, and I put a lot of work and effort into it, and I think that's why I have this attachment to it and why I want it to do well, and why I'm trying to improve it and better optimize it so that it could perform a little bit better. I think that the thumbnail was one of the main things that was keeping it from performing. So if you look at the before picture of what this thumbnail used to look like, yeah, it is like a travesty, and it used to really pain me. I was attached to it. I wouldn't really say proud, I would say attached to it, and this is why, right? First of all, the thumbnail that I'm creating right now for that video is what I had envisioned in my mind initially. But when I went to download the pictures from off the internet, I saw this little tiny thing saying, you know, these images could be subject to copyright. And of course, as I hear the word copyright, I'm like, oh my goodness, the YouTube copyright police is going to have my head. I can't just download this image from Google Images and just plop it onto my YouTube thumbnail. Is going to be bacchanal, like they're going to copyright strike my video, like it's going to be the end of the world, and I didn't want that to happen to my video. So me being new to YouTube, this video that you see me optimizing right now was my 6th video on my channel. So I was still very fairly new to YouTube, and I didn't want to make any mistakes in terms of copyright claims and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what, Tiffany, you know you could draw a little bit, so why don't just draw the thumbnail, right? That was like my thinking. So I drew the thumbnail on like paper because I don't really have the software or the experience in drawing on a tablet or on the computer, and I don't have the stylus pens. Like, I don't have the equipment, I don't have the software, and I have no experience, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I did what I usually do, and I drew it on paper first, and then I took a picture of it and then try to go from there. Now it would have come out better had I had all my physical utensils or my drawing pencils and color pencils that I usually use, but somebody, right, took my color pencils and I couldn't find them. So I just had a black and white sketch, right? So I'm thinking, okay, what am I to do? I have to get this thumbnail out. Mind you, I was posting once a week in the earlies, and I was already a week behind because there was so much things that went into producing this video that it took me like 2 weeks to make. And even looking back at it now, the editing's still janky, but that's the beginning stages. It's still good enough. The audio could be a little bit better. I didn't have my mic then, but it's still good information, right? And I went online and I tried to find a free application to do like drawing, and I found Adobe Sketch, I believe. And I kid you not, I had to dig up and find like this. They used to have these pens, like an actual pen, and then they used to have like a little stylus part attached to it, and that's what I was using to try now and color in and fill in this picture for this thumbnail. And I tried, and you could see the result, and I started to feel so like this is taking too long, just post it and see how it goes. And I wanted a lot of people to see it, but I kind of knew there was a great chance that a lot of people wouldn't see it. So maybe by then I would have a chance to like eventually fix my thumbnail and then promote my video a bit more and, you know, get it some traction, right? So I was totally validated. I was like, you know what, I put time into this, I did what I could. I used like the color pencil application within the app, so it would look kind of like how I would have done it if I did it on paper. And the only problem was that when it came to me coloring in the skin, that's where it was looking splotchy, because I used a different thing rather than the color pencil, because the color pencil was coming out way too harsh and I wasn't getting the shading, and where I wanted the light to look like it was bouncing off of, I wasn't getting that properly. And I used some other type of brush, and that's why it looks so splotchy, right? And I didn't really like it. I was attached to it because it took me a lot of time, you know, maybe the same amount of time to do the thumbnail to do this whole video, and I would say I was attached to it. And I was also scared that if I use the images online, I would get copyright somehow. And then, you know, after some time passed and I realized, hey, people out here who do gaming videos put these images on their thumbnails and it's not a problem. So why would I think that it's a problem if I put some video game characters on my thumbnail. And then I think I had like a light bulb moment, and I was like, okay, I just going to take this from off the internet and, you know, crop it and modify it in the same way, in the same type of vision that I had, right? So in Canva, right, after I took the images from online and I put a black background because I just wanted a plain background. I think black was better than white to get the words to pop. This thumbnail is intentionally different from all the other thumbnails on my channel, and it's because I wanted this video in particular to stand out. I wanted this video to be something that captures their attention. I wanted people to click on this video because it is different from anything else that I have ever seen on the internet in terms of how to grow on YouTube and how to get subscribers. It's a different take, it's totally novel, and I needed it to be novel in all aspects of it, right? And it's also a good test to see, okay, how people are responding to this type of thumbnail as opposed to the others, which are more or less similar to each other, right? And I also decided to put one of those phrases that kind of captures people. And what I mean by that is I watch a lot of videos on YouTube about how to grow on YouTube, and one of the people, his name is Ethan King, he was talking about how to title your thumbnail to get people to click, right? So one of the things that you might see other YouTubers doing is that they would say, you know, how to grow your YouTube channel quickly, what big YouTubers aren't telling you, or what's the secret that no one knows, or, you know, secret hack, secret trick. So that made me think to put top secret on my thumbnail itself in order to get that type of factor that kind of draws you in. And I've never done this before, so this is also another, let's say, trial to see how much that works or how effective that actually is. So just look at the vast difference in what the thumbnail used to look like before and what it looks like now. And that's why I say that this is like a advertisement for your video. It's definitely something that you should work on, and but it's not the only thing, of course. But in this video, we're just focusing on improving your metadata. Actually improving the video itself is a whole other thing. So the next thing that you want to focus on is your video title, right? And if you watch a lot of videos, you would see that a lot of the times people have what I call a compound title. So they would have one keyword phrase, and then they would have a space and a line, and then another space and another keyword phrase, right? So what I do when I'm titling my videos, or rather improving upon the titles of my videos, is that I would have two parts to my titles. One that is more of like a question. So here I have how to get subscribers on YouTube, or if I change it around a little bit, how to grow on YouTube. And then I want to put in one of those little phrases that draw you in, like I was talking about before, like top secret or what no one is telling you. If you have enough space to do that, you should. As I fiddled around with the title, I realized I was running out of space, and I wanted to keep the long keyword phrase that I wanted to rank for, that I would say that the term that I kind of coined, because if you search up YouTube growth theory, I am ranking for it because no one else is using that search term. So it's a search term that no one is using, and therefore that's why my video wasn't being seen. And once I had put in how to get subscribers on YouTube together with that, I was able to drive just a little bit more views together with other strategies, right? But it was helping it in terms of showing up in YouTube search because I improved on the title. Now, before we move into your thesis statement and timestamps, which are both housed in the video description of your YouTube video, let's talk a little bit about these video descriptions and what it should really look like and entail, and then why it is you need a thesis statement and timestamps, and that should be enough metadata for your video to thrive. So when I do my YouTube video descriptions, I usually either state the summary of what the video should be at the top, and then I go into either listing questions that I'm going to address in the video, or I list the key points that I'm going to address in the video, or I give some motivational or meaningful tidbits or tips in relation to the video or the video title. And then coming down to the end of it, I would put in like my channel slogan or channel description, my links to subscribe, other links to social media platforms, any products that I would recommend, or any of my own products that I recommend. And that really is the summation of my video description. Now, what is good about just having a thesis statement and timestamps is that gives you the bulk of what your video description should look like. So once you have your thesis statement, that is equated to the summary of your video and should really just be a reiteration of your video title, and it's going to be displayed as the first 2 lines of your video description, and it is shown when somebody is shown your video in browse features or in their subscription box. They see the first 2 lines, and that's why it needs to be like a summary or a reiteration of your title, and for better words, a thesis statement. Now, once you put your timestamps in your description, the timestamps are like chapter titles, and therefore they are also equivalent to your key points or your key questions that you are addressing within your video. So it acts as that portion of your description. It also displays these chapter titles on your video screen as the person is watching your video, and it also acts as your keywords or your keyword phrases that you're actually trying to rank for. So it comes like a trifecta, and that's why I think that timestamps are so powerful. Now, how do you actually put timestamps on your video? So it's very simple, and all you need to do is when you go into your description box of your video in the Creator Studio editing page, you would start off with 0:00 space, and then you write your title. Now, the next time that you put underneath that has to be at least more than 10 seconds from the start time, which is always 0. And you have to have at minimum 3 timestamps for it to work. So you need to have a minimum of 10 seconds per timestamp, and you need to have a minimum of 3 for it to show up on your video. And that's basically it. So I timestamped my video, so now I have even more metadata within my video description, right? Which I believe is probably the 3rd level of the metadata. So you'd have your thumbnail first, then your title, then your video description, and now we're coming on to the fifth T, which is your tags. And what I would do is that I would just put in the keywords for your channel specifically, so your channel name and any keywords that you want your channel to rank for overall, and then you put in keywords of the video itself. So some of the keywords I put in here would have been how to grow on YouTube, niche versus personal brand versus target audience, of course YouTube growth theory, because that's something that I want to specifically rank for. It's like my own special keyword phrase. And you could put any other type of reiterations of things that you think would be connected to this video, together with things that you would have personally said in this video. Now, I reference a lot of channels in this video, and that's why you would see links in my description to everyone's channel. So I used some clips, but I didn't put each person's channel name in my tags because I don't think I had enough space, and then it would have taken away from the other tags that I think would be more important than just tagging other YouTube channels, right? So that is how holistically I improve the metadata for my YouTube growth theory video. And now that I have optimized it much better for the YouTube platform, the only thing now that I have to do is promote it. I have about 4 to 5 different ways in which to do that, and if I am successful with all these strategies of promoting this video, getting it some traction, having the nice snowball effect and making it go viral, I will make a video on how I was able to achieve that. If I am not successful, you will probably not hear about this video again, but I am still very much proud of the fact that I was able to improve this video, because it is worth more than it's currently getting, in my humble opinion. If you like this video and you want to check out my newly and improved YouTube growth theory video, it most likely will be linked in the end screen, and I might pin it at the top of the comments in this video. And if you want to see any more videos from me, let me know down below, and I will see you in the next video.